Have you ever wondered why some names in the Qur'an appear like echoes from a forgotten past, powerful, symbolic, and cloaked in mystery? Among them, one stands out, not a prophet, not a companion, but a king, a righteous ruler, mentioned not by name, but by a title, Dhul-Qarnayn, the one with two horns. Who was he? Where did he travel? And what made his story so important that it was revealed directly in response to a question posed to Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, by the people of the book? This is not just a story of a king. This is the story of a soul entrusted with power and tested by it. A man who traveled across the edges of the known world, not to conquer, but to protect, uplift, and build. He wasn't seeking glory, he was fulfilling a divine trust. In this episode, we journey through time and myth to uncover the story of Dhul-Qarnayn. We'll explore what the Qur'an tells us, how scholars have interpreted his identity, and the legendary wall he built to hold back the destructive tribes of Ya'juj and Ma'juj, a tale that sounds almost apocalyptic, yet deeply symbolic. But beneath the history and the questions lies something even deeper. A lesson on how to wield power with humility, justice with mercy, and knowledge with faith. Because in Dhul-Qarnayn's footsteps, we find more than answers. We find a reflection of the believer's path across mountains of doubt, through valleys of power, and toward a wall that only truth can build. This is his story, and maybe, in some way, it's ours too. The story of Dhul-Qarnayn appears in Surah Al-Kahf, verses 83 to 98, a surah known for its timeless parables and spiritual depth. But why was this story revealed in the first place? It began with a test. The Jewish rabbis of Medina, seeking to challenge the authenticity of revelation, instructed the Quraysh to ask Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, 3 questions. One of those questions was about a great traveler who reached the ends of the earth. It was then that Allah revealed the story of Dhul-Qarnayn. The name Dhul-Qarnayn, meaning the one with 2 horns, has puzzled scholars and seekers for centuries. Some view it as metaphorical, representing his reach across the east and the west. Others suggest it signifies a spiritual duality, a ruler of both strength and mercy, action and wisdom. Historically, many have speculated about who he truly was. Classical scholars proposed figures like Alexander the Great, whose empire spanned continents. Others leaned toward Cyrus the Great, a Persian king praised for his justice and humility. Yet the Qur'an doesn't confirm any name, only emphasizing his righteous leadership and divine guidance. Dhul-Qarnayn was a unique kind of leader. He was not merely traveling to conquer, but to observe and serve. In his journeys, he came upon various communities, each with unique conditions and challenges, and with each one, he responded with justice and divine consciousness. He reached a land where the sun set, interpreted as the far west, where he found a people. Allah gave him the choice to punish them or to treat them with kindness. His response was that those who wrong would be dealt with justly, while those who believed and did good would be rewarded. He then journeyed to the east, finding a people who lived without shelter from the sun, likely symbolizing their exposure, vulnerability, and simplicity. Yet again, he observed and moved with understanding, not domination. But it was his third encounter that would etch his name into legend. Between 2 mighty mountain barriers, Dhul-Qarnayn encountered a humble people. They spoke in a different tongue, distant from those he had previously met, and they brought him a plea. O Dhul-Qarnayn, Ya'juj and Ma'juj are spreading corruption in the land. Can we pay you to build a barrier between us and them? Ya'juj and Ma'juj, often translated as Gog and Magog, are 2 destructive tribes referenced in both Islamic and Judeo-Christian traditions. Known for their chaos and corruption, their emergence is tied to the end of times. But here, they were already wreaking havoc, and the people feared for their survival. Dhul-Qarnayn didn't ask for wealth. He didn't demand tribute or control. Instead, he asked for labor and cooperation. He would guide them, and together they would build a wall, a barrier of iron and molten copper so strong it could not be scaled or penetrated. So they could neither scale it nor bore through it, the Qur'an tells us. And when it was complete, he didn't boast. He didn't glorify himself or his power. He simply said, "This is a mercy from my Lord." This moment holds one of the most beautiful lessons in the story. Despite his power, his intellect and his accomplishment, Dhul-Qarnayn credited everything to Allah. It was not his wall, it was Allah's mercy, a divine shield through human hands. He further added that when the time appointed by Allah comes, even this mighty wall will crumble. A subtle but powerful reminder, nothing lasts forever and every worldly protection is temporary when faced with divine decree. Let's pause here for a moment. What kind of leader builds a wall to protect a people he barely knows without asking for riches or rule? What kind of person, after constructing a monumental feat of engineering, steps back and calls it a mercy, not a personal victory? This is why Dhul-Qarnayn's story isn't just about history, it's about character, about what it means to hold power in a way that doesn't corrupt but uplifts, to build with humility, to lead with heart. Even the structure of the story in Surah Al-Kahf is profound. It's sandwiched between other parables of faith, wealth, knowledge and patience, as if to suggest that the path of righteousness requires all of these qualities, balanced with the wisdom of someone like Dhul-Qarnayn. His journey from the west to the east and finally to the north represents more than geography. It symbolizes a full circle of human responsibility to judge fairly, to act justly, and to serve selflessly. His final words about the wall crumbling remind us of the temporality of worldly accomplishments. No matter how strong, how fortified, how magnificent, everything will fall except what is done for the sake of Allah. And so, Dhul-Qarnayn vanishes from the pages of the Qur'an. We are not told of his death, nor his legacy, only his deeds. As if to say, righteous actions outlive the names that perform them. So, what can we take from this mysterious king's story in our modern lives? First, the concept of power as a trust. Whether you're a parent, a teacher, a leader, or simply someone others look up to, your influence is not yours. It's a test, and like Dhul-Qarnayn, you're accountable for how you use it. Second, his story teaches the importance of serving with humility. He didn't impose, he offered help, he didn't demand praise, he gave credit to Allah. In a time where leadership is often about ego, Dhul-Qarnayn reminds us that true leadership is service. Third, he worked with the people, not above them. He invited their hands, not just their gold. That cooperation built something lasting. How can we apply that? In our families, our communities, even in our personal goals, we must seek collaboration, not domination. Lastly, he was a student of the world. He traveled, he observed, he learned. Never once did he assume superiority. He adapted his responses to each situation, showing the importance of wisdom and discernment in action. We are all travelers on this earth. Some of us may never go beyond our cities. Others might cross continents. But what matters isn't how far you go, it's what you do with the places you reach. Dhul-Qarnayn remains a mystery. His name, his origins, even his era, shrouded in questions. But what the Qur'an gives us is far more important than his identity. It gives us a model, a timeless example of power wielded with purpose, of justice led by faith, of strength tempered with humility. His story reminds us that righteousness is not limited to prophets, that even kings can be servants, that the true wall between chaos and peace isn't built of iron, it's built of integrity, of justice, of divine connection. As you go about your life, ask yourself, what kind of wall am I building? Is it one of protection or pride? Is it one of service or self-interest? May we all, in our own quiet ways, follow the path of Dhul-Qarnayn, not for recognition, but for righteousness. And when we are given power, even over just our own selves, may we respond as he did, "This is a mercy from my Lord."